30 some years, I've been using a counseling process that I've decided it's time to share more widely. It's a self-therapy, which I discovered in my 40s and then have developed over the years in my counseling practice in such a way that it has become a pretty miraculous intervention, which works quite quickly to help people change and heal situations that have maybe been driving them crazy their whole lives. Although they don't realize it in the beginning, they think that each situation is unique. And as we work together, they discover that there's a pattern that they've been stuck in. And the clearing process is designed to discover that pattern and to intervene in such a way that you get it at its source. It's a self-therapy, and it helps people handle their life differently. I get such a kick out of hearing from clients after they've started using the process themselves about how they have found themselves just responding differently to life than they used to, not without even trying. It's very exciting. In fact, one of the reasons I decided to do this series of videos is because sometimes I also get calls from clients saying, I forgot how to do it. Would you help me again? Sometimes this is 2 or 3 years after we've worked together. So as time has gone on, I've probably worked with several hundred people in different countries, Australia, thank God for Zoom, Australia and England, Ireland, Canada, and of course, all of the United States. I've written a book about it, and at the end of this video, I'll give you that as a resource so that you can use it if you want to as you listen to these videos. So this was going to be an introduction for people who don't know anything about the clearing process. Of course, you'll want to study it more in depth if it intrigues you and if you get excited about it. Let me tell you how I came across this. I was in my 40s and in a really difficult situation, just out of my second divorce and extremely unhappy. I hadn't gone to church or become involved in any spiritual practice, but I thought I'd try that. It didn't really make a difference, but the minister there became a friend, and she started working with me about my emotional issues, which had been of such long-standing duration through abusive relationships in particular. And it transformed my life. Within a few months, I was completely a different person. My social life transformed. I doubled my income, which was an unexpected benefit. And most of all, I became empowered to handle my life. I had changed my inner space, and that's what the clearing process does for us. It changes our energy field so that we deal with life differently. So this video is just an overview, and I'm going to follow it up with a series of 6 brief videos, each one detailing how to do one step of the clearing process. It's just kind of offering you a glimpse of it to see if you might want to pursue it on your own. It's quite different than most therapy. In fact, almost everybody I work with ends up telling me, I was in therapy for years and I never was able to get to this. Talk therapy, behavioral therapies aren't as powerful as this emotional energy work that we do, because it involves going deeply into the self, which I will show you how to do, finding the source of the emotional block that you don't even know that you're holding, and dissolving it. And this is something that's not talked about and not taught. I have to say that I've never seen anything as effective and as efficient as the clearing process. And I cannot even describe how grateful I am to be able to work with people on this level and to see the kind of changes that they make in their life. I'm sure you get that. Let me give you an example. My sister Donna, who's passed on now, all of her life, well, maybe 10 times in her lifetime, she lived to her 70s, attracted into her friendship circle women friends who would eventually end up betraying her in some way, or turning on her, or deserting her. Women friends who were very good friends of years standing. And she would say to me, Pat, why did they do this? I just can't believe it. I didn't do anything to deserve this. And finally, she let me do clearing work with her. And we sat in my backyard for a couple hours one afternoon, and we did an escalated clearing process. And we discovered it's very much a collaborative process when you work with a counselor. We discovered that one of the things she had never gotten in touch with was how our mother would, even though Donna was her best helper, our mother would suddenly, from her own emotional pain due to a bad marriage with my dad, she would turn on Donna and hit her unexpectedly. It was quite abusive, really, and didn't happen very often, but it was extremely destructive for Donna because she loved my mother, obviously, and my mother loved her so much that she couldn't even realize what was really happening. So she suppressed her sadness over that. And it kept showing up in her life again and again. And once we did the clearing work together, it never, ever happened to her again with another friend. That's an example of how we draw situations to us which are directly related to whatever we haven't yet processed. The clearing process helps us discover that source and to clear it. I had a teacher for years called Michael Rice, who used to say that emotions that we're unaware of are a psychic megaphone blasting a message out to life saying, come and do it to me. So these emotions that turn out being so destructive always end up, even though they're appearing in our current life, in our adult life, they always end up being emotions that are related to things that happened to us when we were a small child. Things that maybe we don't remember, feelings that we certainly are not aware of having had. But when we do the clearing process together, it's a technique that helps you find what it is that you're holding that you don't know you're holding and go directly into it in such a way that it dissolves it. See, this is quite different from regular therapy because we think that trying to figure out what's going on is going to help. I remember my first marriage, my sisters and I would spend hours talking about what I could do differently to make the marriage work. You know, we can try so hard and just not be able to make any significant change. And the other thing that happens a lot is trying to figure out what to do differently. It's very difficult to make yourself do something differently. With the clearing process, it happens by itself because your energy has shifted. The feelings that you've been holding on a vibrational level shift by having turned toward them and been with those feelings in such a way that they don't need to stay in you anymore. So much psychic energy is bound up in keeping emotions repressed that are subconscious things we're not ready to heal. And when we free that, the ramifications are huge. It certainly does not just change the situation in our life. It affects our life, as I said about myself in the beginning, it affects our life in so many different ways because we're not repressed anymore, trying to keep hidden from ourselves some painful emotion that we don't even know we have. It's magical, really. It's transformative. And I think one of the best ways to describe it is that when you successfully use the clearing process on yourself, either of three things will happen. Either the situation will shift all on its own. What was bothering you just doesn't happen anymore. So either the situation will change on its own, or what might happen is that the situation still happens, but it just doesn't bother you. You know, you'll say to yourself, God, you know, that used to really bother me. It just doesn't bother me anymore. It's because you don't have that button to be pushed anymore. It's gone. It's not in you. So the situation can be going on, but it has nothing to do with you. Or the third thing that can happen after clearing is that, yes, the situation still happens, but you handle it very effectively and very easily. So it's like a part of us that we haven't been in touch with gets freed up, and life feels our different energy vibration. So I hope you'll go ahead and watch for these next 6 videos, which will illustrate the steps. and use the clearing process to free yourself for a truly new level of powerful and happy living.